All right. Welcome to the Money Act podcast, where we talk about money and movies. Today we have Yogesh Lakhani, who I've worked with for many years. How many years has this been? It's back
Uh,
on Evan
our name,
Almighty. I remember
Heaven
working on
Almighty,
Evan
yes.
Almighty a long
Yeah,
time
still
ago,
live there, yeah.
but it might have been before then too. Um,
Uh, yeah, it's been a while.
yeah. So Yogesh and I worked at Rhythm and Hughes Studios in the LA office.
Yes.
And then I moved up to the Vancouver office, opened the Vancouver office, and you went to, was it Singapore?
No, I did not
c-
go to Singapore.
For
After RNH, I went to Disney and
Disney.
for a project, and then I moved to India for 2 years. I
Uh-huh.
worked at DreamWorks India in
Yeah. Oh, it was
Bangalore.
DreamWorks India. That's where it
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I moved to Vancouver thanks to
Yeah.
you.
Brought
Moved
you
to
over to
ImageWorks.
Sony. That's
Yes,
right. Nice. Very cool. And right now you are at DNEG as a lighting technical supervisor
yes,
by day. And then by night, you are a mortgage agent.
yes.
So the dual threat here, and an avid investor. So Yogesh and I talk on the side, every now and then. And hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And now he's a member of the Money Act community. So
Yes.
a little plug for that. If you join the Money Act community, you'll also have access to Yogesh's mind as well in the community chats.
Okay.
So so welcome, Yogesh. Super glad to have you join the program.
It's my pleasure to be here.
And so why don't we talk about, I mean, we just gave a little quick snippet of your career. Why don't we talk about how it all started, how you got into visual effects, why, and then go from there.
So before getting into visual effects, I have an engineering background.
Hmm.
So, but when I was doing my engineering, I did not feel that passion while I was doing it. It was
Right.
just ingrained in my mind by my parents. So you have to grow up as an engineer. Like that's that happens in a lot of Indian families when they grow up. You have to become an engineer or a doctor.
Right.
So that was me. But then when I started into engineering, I realized this is not for me. I need to, but I had to still finish it. And then my uncles, who are big producers, film producers in India, they were expanding their business, and they were launching a lot of films, and they needed someone from the family to help out with the business. So after engineering, I just started right away with them into film
Oh, very
industry,
cool.
and I was taking directors for location scouting outside of India. Anything outside of India, that was my baby. So I was taking care of location scouting, making all the bookings, and dealing with the airlines and getting all the shoots done, getting all the permissions. So basically, I was working as an executive producer for the company.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then after 4 years, I wanted to venture out, and that time movies like Jurassic Park had come out, Matrix had come out,
Mm.
and I was like
Hmm.
intrigued. Okay, how is this done?
Yeah.
Because we were making like films in like more traditional way, and
Right.
no exposure to visual effects.
Right. What
So
kind of
that's when
films were you making?
it was mostly romantic films.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one action film. Uh, so, but I was very fascinated by the technology and how
Yeah.
it's all done. So I started looking into it, and I found a few schools in US which they offer courses. So I ended up going to San Francisco, study at Academy of Art University,
Hmm.
and I graduated from there. And since then, I have been working in Hollywood with various studios. Started off my journey with Orphanage, DD, then an RNH for a very long time,
Uh-huh.
almost 11 years at
Oh,
RNH.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then Disney, DreamWorks, then ImageWorks, and now I'm at DNEC.
And you're in Toronto now, right?
I'm in Toronto. Yes,
Yeah. And how do you like it there?
I love in Toronto. It's
Yeah.
it's basic. I love the weather. First thing, not
Really?
in winter. Not in winter. Winter is
Okay.
very cold. Yeah. So because in Vancouver is beautiful. I really miss Vancouver.
Hmm.
But only thing, like most of the time in the year, it's rainy all the time.
Yeah.
It's cloudy.
Yeah.
And I
It's
come
depressing,
from California. I live most of my
right?
life in California. We love the sun.
Yeah.
Even though it's cold in winter in Toronto, at least we see the sun almost every day.
Right.
So that is more
That
important
is
to
a
me.
big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I can layer up in winter. That's okay. But I
Right.
want to see the sun. And another thing,
Yeah,
like
I can see that.
we wanted to move closer to family. So my in-laws live here,
Uh-huh.
and because of DNEG, I was able to do that. So I'm grateful to them.
That's
So,
great.
and yeah, I think it was worth the move. And having kids around family, that's a big thing.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you working remotely or flex, or how's that working?
Yes, I am working remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Because downtown is like 40 minutes from here. So
Okay.
yeah, until
Yeah.
unless there is an event, I drive there. But
Right.
otherwise, like, yeah, working
Yeah.
from home.
Saves the time. Yeah. It's so
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
yes, that's true.
Very cool. And so what sparked your interest in investing? And do you, so I know that you do real estate. Is there other aspects of investing that you do, or is it mostly focused on real estate?
Um, I have been investing in real estate since 2017 when I came to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, like I also do private lending. Like I have lent some money to a startup, and
Oh,
thankfully
cool.
it's doing amazingly well.
Oh,
So
very cool.
yeah,
What genre of, if you can disclose?
it's a company which owns Amazon stores. They own a lot of Amazon stores, and they
Okay.
buy products directly from the brands. Before they were buying products from the distributors in the US, but
Okay.
now they directly deal with the brands. It's just grown a lot in the last 3 years. So yeah, I took a gamble with this company. To be honest, like it
How did
was
you find them? How did you find them?
through a friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, to be precise, and a friends and my mother-in-law, because she's a financial advisor and she
Oh,
gets
right.
in touch
Yeah,
with
yeah.
various types of people. So
Uh-huh.
this opportunity came along. We were a little skeptical, but we had a few meetings. We looked at the data, and it looked really promising, but it was a high risk investment. So I do not recommend people putting their hard-earned money until
Right.
unless they know their exit strategy, which is the most important with every investment.
Yeah.
If worst case scenario, think about the worst case. If you lose this money, what's your exit strategy? What are you going to do?
Right. So
You
it's kind
need
of
you
like play money in a way, maybe not all play money, but you're,
Yes,
yeah, like
you need to diversify. You need
yeah,
to have some portion of money where you can play around with such investments,
right.
but not with all of the money. So
Right. Yeah, I follow a guy named George Gammon, and he's got a strategy where he has like 10% is like gold, silver, those assets that, always stay stable through for the most part throughout history. And so
yeah,
that's his like backing. But then he has like the investment strategy with the other 80%, and then that last 10% is like what you're talking about, where
yes,
it's like, you're shooting for the moon. They don't always,
yes.
land on the moon, but that's his strategy. Is that, I don't know, percentage wise, is that what you're doing, or a smaller
Uh,
portion of that shooting for the moon?
well, this smaller portion has become a little bigger portion for me
All
in
right.
the last
Okay.
in the last say year and a half.
Right.
But I know where this is heading. That's
Uh-huh.
why it's a calculated risk.
Right.
So that's why, like I've taken a slightly bigger risk, but I have my exit strategy. Like if anything happens to my money, I
Good for you.
know what to do from there.
That's good.
So I'm
That's
not
really
having
good.
sleepless nights due to this investment.
Right. Right. That's good. And I think that's important too. Um, I have a one-on-one coach I work with as well that he noticed I didn't have an exit strategy even for my real estate. And I just hadn't thought of it. Why would you want an exit strategy? You're buying this to just, bring in income every month, for the
Yeah.
rest of your life potentially. And he's like, you still have to have an exit strategy, because what if at some point it doesn't perform? You need to have like your indicators of, if it does this, 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 and this, I'm out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really good point. So I actually built that into the course as well. Like,
Yeah.
here's an
And
exit strategy you
yeah.
should adopt. Yeah.
And real estate is like every 5 years, every 3 to 5 years, you should
Mm.
evaluate
Hmm.
where it is in
That's a
your
good
current
point.
market.
Yeah.
So it could stay with you for 15 years, 20 years. If it's a good investment, you want to keep it. That's absolutely fine. But
Right.
you need to keep reevaluating your investments every few
Hmm.
years. Yeah.
And is your real estate all in Canada at the moment, or do you have some kind of all over the place?
Most of it, actually, all of it right now is in Canada.
Uh-huh.
I have some in Toronto, some in BC,
Hmm.
and we have one apartment building which we've bought with other partners in Alberta,
Hmm.
in Edmonton.
Okay.
But I'm also looking into expanding my portfolio in the US later this year or
Hmm.
early next year into commercial properties like self storages.
Oh, interesting.
So
I was just looking into this last night. It's so funny. Yeah.
it's a great investment
Yeah.
asset, you know, but
Well,
you need to
so that,
know.
yeah, that's the piece. You really need to kind of know. There is so much commercial real estate. I was looking through last night. I mean, even around me, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like this whole city's for sale. It's like
Yes.
all the commercial property. I'm like, just that place down the street, just that, because they don't know what's happening with the economy, and obviously a lot of them were screwed over, by the pandemic, forcing people
Yeah.
out of their businesses.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Just look, because this one site I was looking at has a map, and you can just kind of look at, down at where you live or wherever you want, really. And that's a big one. If people can capitalize on what to do with that commercial real estate, and like what you said, the storage thing is something that seems to be stable over a long period of time. And it's kind of a boring business, but it's something you don't have to like hang out at, and have tons of employees. Even with today's technology, if you have cameras and key coded pads, you almost
Yes.
don't even need somebody on site either. It's
That's
obviously,
true.
yeah,
At the most, you need like one person. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. So it's a really good business to look into if you can find
Yeah. So I'm
right
at in a
piece.
research stage right now.
Uh
I'm
huh.
diving into a lot of like I like to study a lot before I dive into any kind of investment. That's what I
Yeah.
did with the residential rentals,
Mm-hmm.
and like we do our research, thorough research, making sure that it's cash flowing.
Right.
And but self storage is a different beast. So
Right.
and I'm reading a lot, watching a lot of videos, connecting with a lot of investors in
Mm-hmm.
the US who have knowledge about self storage, just picking their brain and just doing my research and
Mm-hmm.
talking to some mortgage lenders, like banks and mortgage brokers in the US. Also getting an idea from underwriting standpoint as well. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of work goes into this research and
Of
before
course.
we start going and looking for properties, so just
Of course. Yeah.
doing our
Is it a
homework.
viable business to even
Yes,
bother looking into? Yeah.
yes,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important to have these connections with people and like-minded people as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
because some people just don't understand that they just want to go to work and enjoy their lives, which is great. But
yeah,
then you have to be sort of in this mindset to do this. And this is where I think the community that I'm trying to build, I mean, you know, you do some research and say, hey, everybody, I've got this. People
yes,
can start sharing ideas. I mean, this is perfect. I'm actually part of other communities um, that I'm starting to meet people. Oh, you're actually a filmmaker, and oh, you're into real estate, and it's these kind of connections that sort of spark um, some of these investments. And I think it's great that you're doing that. And um, so, what in particular would you say? I know you said your mother-in-law, helped sort of spark some of this as well. Um, but what was it that you said, I'm going to do this? Did you read a book? Did you, um, like for me, I had like a series of events that led me to wanting to do this. But what was it, the spark for you?
you mean, are you asking like why did I
Yeah, like
start
for me,
investing in real estate or
or just having this mindset, because for me it was when Rhythm and Hughes went down.
the same thing for me?
I
Same
was
thing
it
for
really
me.
okay.
Rhythm and news
Yeah,
was a trigger point for me.
I was just like, I got to diversify myself. This is because it happened with so many. We were like the
Yes,
pinnacle of all the bankruptcies.
I like Rhythm and Hughes when it went down. and we were all working in proprietary pipelines, and
Uh-huh.
didn't know, okay, what I'm going to do
Right.
after this. 3 months I was sitting at home. There were no jobs in LA,
Yeah.
and I was actually looking for businesses. And then I looked at it, I saw the numbers, and I realized, okay, when I'm buying a business, I'm actually buying a job for myself, but instead of working 5 days, I'll be working 7 days,
That's right.
an active operating business. So I
Yeah.
decided against it because I was looking for free time to do something
Yep.
else, but not to, you know, get deeper into it, into the rabbit hole where I can't get out of it.
Right.
So,
Trading
so
one job for another. Yeah.
yeah. So then I continued in the
Hmm.
industry, and I realized, okay, there are a lot of opportunities out there, but I had to leave LA, unfortunately.
Right.
But yes, but that's when all my thought process started changing towards investments, and I just got a lot of opportunities when I came to Canada because I also had a support of my mother-in-law.
Right.
Just coming in as a partner, it was just a mental support
Hmm.
more, because financially, yes, we have to chip in whatever it is, but at least
Sure.
some confidence, you need some support along, and nothing better than like a family member with you or a
Absolutely.
close friend.
So you were in the mindset of, okay, I don't want to trade my job for another job.
Yes,
Even if it is my own business. So then it led you to, all right, I've got to invest to have that, to sort of diversify myself, I guess. Is so you've got your job, but now you're going to use that job to invest, to bring in that extra money to diversify yourself, so you're not in another situation like,
correct,
maybe
correct.
a lot of people right now are. Lots of layoffs, content's freezing up, 2 unions on strike. At least you
See,
have that to lean back on. Yeah.
yes, and that was a basic thought process because there are so many, like the background of uncertainties in our industry,
Hmm.
and we are used to a certain lifestyle,
Hmm.
and our industry, if you get laid off, like you have to compromise on a lot of things
Right.
till your next gig. What do you do?
Yeah.
And so this is what, okay, I want to sustain my lifestyle,
Hmm.
but not at the time of retirement. At the time of retirement, it's important to maintain a lifestyle and you need to plan for that. But I
Right.
want to maintain my lifestyle even now, if anything happens to my job in the industry,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And I am passionate about working in the movie industry, but you still need
Yeah.
to
You still want
plan.
to, right.
Plan for your financial goals and long-term financial goals.
That's right. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this industry unique, because we are used to working from gig to gig to gig. Even if we
Yes,
go to a studio where we are staff or, locked in, um, there's still the or potential that something major could happen.
correct.
And I think that's what sets a lot of filmmakers or people in the industry apart, because we we're not like saving this finite amount of money for retirement like most people do. They throw it in the 401k and just expect that by the time you retire, that money will be there, even though there's been like 3 stock market crashes in the
Yeah.
last 20 years.
Right.
So, I think that's what kind of, there's a lot of people that are like, I know there's something different I should be doing, I just don't know what it is. And that's what I went through after Rhythm went down. I'm like, I'd kind of like, okay, what am I going to do? I may as well just learn about money. And still working in the business. And I actually freaked out, moved into a basement apartment with my wife and my son, my oldest. Youngest wasn't born yet. And we moved into a basement apartment over in North Vancouver. And we're like, we got to hunker down, we got to, reduce all spending. And, it was good because we definitely saved a lot during that time.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily need to do it. But I didn't want to feel that way again. That
Yeah.
was this like, whoa,
It is a
this
scary
can happen.
feeling.
And the interesting thing is, because I feel like it might have been around the same time, my dad was an air traffic controller working for the federal government for years. And right before he turned 50, they decided to privatize it. So all that pension led up, gone because he wasn't 50
Oh,
yet. And so then he had to work for the private company for a while, eventually worked for the government again. He's fine now, but I think that just kind of set in my head, nothing is safe.
Nothing
You
is
know, at
safe.
that time,
Yes.
you know, you have to do something now.
Yeah, that's why like 401k, like you're having someone else manage the money for you.
That's right. Yeah.
It's so
And they're
unpredictable.
like, could be trained for like 6 months. That's it.
6 months, yes, that's
Yeah.
true. With at least real estate, I am in charge of my investment. I know how to increase the value of my investment.
Yeah.
And because a lot of research has already gone into buying this investment, so I know I'm in total control of it.
Right.
And and not depending just on speculative market.
That's
you
right.
know so
And it can be a lot of, and I remember feeling this way when I found, before I started learning about this, the market crashed. We had moved to Canada, and there was this amazing place right down the street from my parents in Seattle. I was living in Canada at this point,
yeah,
and it was so cheap at the time because everything had crashed. It's like right down the street from a lake,
yeah,
230,000. You could rent it out for $2,500, you know. Like,
yeah,
I just didn't have that renting out in my mind, but I was like, this is such a good deal. What can I do? And I just was like, I don't want to deal with tenants and toilets and all this stuff, you
yes,
know,
yeah,
not thinking just hire a property manager. They
yes,
take
yeah,
their 6 to 10% cut.
yeah,
And it's not like it's passive either, because like you said, you control what happens with the property. And I've just recently had some real pains in the butt with a property management company that purchased the previous one that was great, and it's this app company. By the way, if you have a property management company that sells to one of these apps like this one that they sold to with mine, where they think they can do everything with an app and all the communication is done with no human being, that doesn't work in this business.
yeah. I
Dude, get rid of them. I've got a new guy starting on Monday, actually. He's amazing already out of the gate. So, lesson learned there. As soon
Yeah,
as somebody gets sold to an app, get rid of it and find somebody
yes,
else.
yeah. I agree. You need to
Yeah,
talk to a human. You can't
absolutely.
do this with
It's
an
it's
app.
a human based business.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you had any horror stories with your various?
Well, this summer, not hard. Yeah, we had one tenant in Toronto just this year.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, Actually started late last year, but
mm,
he stopped paying rent. And you know how the laws are in cities
yeah,
like
right
Toronto and
now.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
They are more tenant friendly than
Yes.
landlord friendly, and you
Yep.
can't do anything. You can just if you just sent him a notice through a lawyer.
Mm,
It took months, and then he just vandalized the place and he just ran away one day. The case is still there in the court, but then
right.
sometimes it's rare, but sometimes you get these kind of tenants,
Right.
and but we just moved on. And then
Right.
whenever the court hearing happens, it happens. We have all his contact information, so hopefully we can recover our money from there. But you need to be prepared for these kind of
Right. You need to
issues. You need to
factor that in
Yes, you need to
your
have some
monthly.
contingency funds
Yep.
for a situation like that.
Yeah. I
This
put away
year, yeah,
4% for that case and
yes,
4% for
that's
maintenance. Is that what you do?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's 4 to 5% is a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this year has been the summer has been like all so many of my tenants like their refrigerators stopped working. Like
Is
uh,
that still happening? Because it is still happening. Like this place that I'm switching over on Monday, the tenants
yeah,
are moving out the same day.
yeah,
They have been on government assistance for the pandemic.
yeah.
Still, they just got another revamp up. I'm like, this is still going on. This is crazy. Pandemic's not even here anymore. Is
Yeah.
that what's happening there? Is it still pandemic stuff or for another reason?
No, no, it's just so hot, and the refrigerator stops cooling, and it's just I'm dealing with so many refrigerators this summer. It's
Oh,
like
I see.
calling up the appliance companies to come and check
It's,
and repair them. So
I
that's
see.
been the biggest cost for me
Oh,
this summer.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's okay. You
that,
know,
that's
it's
good.
part of the business.
Part of the business. Yeah, very good. And how long have you been doing the mortgage agent gig?
uh, I uh, I got my license in December of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into this because a lot of my friends they got into this they were looking for real estate investments, and they were buying properties, and they would come to me for advice.
Hmm.
And they knew that I invest a lot in real estate. So it's just happened, like as and when I was giving them advice, I said, why shouldn't I just do it
There you go.
professionally?
Yeah.
So I just spent a couple of months outside of my work hours. You can do this in like a week or 10 days full time if you study, but because of my job,
Hmm.
like outside of work hours, I would just study, and then I gave my license exam and became a mortgage agent.
Awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. And where can people find you, since we're just talking about it? Where can people find you? It's right here, right?
Yeah, it's my website,
Yeah.
yogeshlakhani.ca. You can go there. All my contact information is there. And you can reach out to me if you have any questions. I can always help you out. I've helped a few industry professionals as well, because it's a big common problem in our industry, because people don't have stable jobs.
Hmm.
And top lenders, they don't like to give you money if you don't have at least 1 year's contract.
Right.
So I have gotten mortgages for friends who have been in the situation who do not have a year's contract,
Oh, really?
because I come from the industry, so I
Right.
know how to explain it to the lenders. I put it in a
Hmm.
way and convince them that it's safe to lend money to
Got you.
such clients.
And so
So
how does it work? Do you have, when you're a mortgage agent, do you have deals with certain banks, or
we
I'm
work,
not sure how that works.
yeah, we work with like I'm a mortgage agent with Affinity Mortgage Solutions,
Hmm.
which comes under the big Dominion Lending
Mm.
brokerage. It's the
Hmm.
biggest lending brokerage in Canada.
Hmm.
And we work with 30 to 40 different lenders, which comprises of A lenders, B, and private lenders, depending on
Okay.
the situation.
Hmm.
So all the people who can easily qualify with A lenders, they're all good. They'll get the best rates and everything. But there are people also who will not qualify for A lenders. Their credit is not good.
Hmm.
Their ratios, their borrowing ratios, it's too high, and it will not qualify with the A lenders. So they still need to buy a house or invest, or they need uh, to borrow money for any number of reasons.
Right.
So
Right.
we help those kind of clients. People need to refinance. They need to renovate house. They need money for their kids' wedding or education. But they own
Hmm.
a house, so we help them borrow money from their house to
So a HELOC,
meet
like a home
HELOC.
equity line of credit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, line of credit. So there are various ways to help people borrow money.
Very cool.
It's not just to buy a house.
Right. Right. And you can help with all that too, then
Yeah, I
HELOCs
can
and
help.
stuff like that. Great.
Yes, I can. Yes, and even like I can evaluate the case in like 30 minutes, and I can tell them, I can give them numbers, and then but based on the information they just give me. But for detailed information, obviously, I need to structure their file.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, very cool. Congratulations on that, because that's really cool that you're kind of doing a double dip in the real estate, and you can also lend, and you're an artist.
Yeah, and one
You're
more
actually a
thing,
triple
like
threat. Yeah.
yeah, there's a link to my app on my website. If
Okay.
anybody wants to download the app and play around with the numbers themselves, they can do that too, and they can
Is this
reach
like
out.
a calculator, mortgage calculator type
It
thing?
has a lot. It's more than the mortgage calculator. It'll
Mm.
give you a lot of it. Has stress test. It'll calculate, yeah, your mortgage payments. It'll actually give you an estimate. It'll ask you a series of questions. What's your purpose of using this app? Either
Mm.
refinance or purchase or whatever it is. It'll ask you a series of questions, and then it'll spit out some numbers for you. You'll get a pretty good estimate of what numbers you'll be looking at, even
Awesome.
before you talk to someone.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
it's part of our. It comes with our brokerage, so it's amazing app. I use it all the time, so I recommend whoever
Very
wants to
cool.
try it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So go see Yogesh on his website and check out that app. And last question that I usually wrap up with is, what is your favorite movie of all time?
I, I seriously, I don't have a favorite movie as such,
Yeah.
but I think
What was it that got you into films then? What
okay,
was it
that's a
that
good
was like,
question.
yeah. Maybe that's what I should change this to.
Yes, it's. I think, as I said earlier, it's Jurassic Park and Matrix, which actually
Okay.
fueled the fire within me to get into this industry. That's
Very
where it
cool.
all started. It's like I was amazed looking at that. Okay, how did they
Yeah,
do that?
the dinosaurs.
I want to do
Yeah,
that.
awesome. Very cool. And my next skit actually coming out is The Matrix, so that should be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And for everybody that wants to check out what the Money Act community is all about, and you can see Yogesh in there as well, please go to money-act.com for more information, or moneyactor.com to dive right in if you just want to jump right in. And I should probably put that up next time, but I'll have that as a banner next time. But you can check out in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for joining us, Yogesh. It was a great conversation. I hope people learned a lot here, and go to your website to check you out.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Ryan, for bringing me here. And I'm very excited to go through your course as well. Learn
Awesome.
different types of investments and
Absolutely.
diversify even more.
And share some ideas.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I recommend people, please do it. He's an
Absolutely.
amazing
Yeah,
guy.
we need more people.
Yes, and he's an amazing investor himself. So yeah, it's a good time to learn. I spend a lot of money every year just in learning from fellow real estate and finance professionals, and that is the only way you can actually learn more and grow with your passive investments. So please dive right into it. Moneyact.com. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Yogesh, and take care, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.